So excited to be back for College Game Day here at Colonial Life Arena. 71 straight home wins for this South Carolina team. We are going to set the matchup. We'll be joined here by Gino Auriemma, who I imagine is going to get a great response and welcome. And we'll have the exclusive reveal of our top 16 for the first time. We'll see all of that coming up, plus a celebrity picker that you do not want to miss. All right, in 49 days, we will head to the great city of Tampa for the Final Four. Today, we'll get our first glimpse of the potential road for these teams to get there, as we will have the exclusive first reveal of the top 16. And honestly, anytime someone says bracket, it's mandated that Charlie Cream, our resident bracketologist, shows up. He's like women's basketball Candyman.
Yes, he is.
You say bracket 3 times, and here he appears. We're super excited to reveal. Are you ready, Charlie?
I am. If the selection show day is like Christmas Day,
yeah,
this is sort of like the day you put your tree up.
Okay, I like that. That's a great way to put this. You're starting to get into the spirit of things.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's reveal the top 16 for the first time, and we'll start with our 4 seeds. That being, we're waiting on it, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Ohio State. What do you see here, Charlie?
The Lady Vols getting in, despite having 6 losses, I think is a good thing, though, because they've played a lot of good teams and they've played them close. So I'm really happy that Tennessee got into this top 16.
And all of those losses by single digits. Like, they play a style that keeps them close enough. I think the committee recognized that.
The most unique and fast-paced style that we have seen. Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the 3 seeds now on the 3 line in the top 16 in the first reveal. We've got...
Oh, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, we're hanging it. Okay, it'll be Duke, TCU, Kansas State, and North Carolina on the 3 line right now.
Duke has played a very, very difficult schedule. I thought they even had a chance to maybe be a 2 seed, but they did have a suspect loss against South Florida, and I think that's kept them down at the 3 line. But I think the Blue Devils still have a chance to get a line higher.
All right now on the 2 line, here's where the committee has the team slated. LSU, NC State, USC, and UConn on the 2 line right now. Any thoughts here?
Honestly, what do you think, Charlie?
The Wolfpack, I think getting a 2 seed is interesting. They have 4 losses, 3 of them though back in November. They've been playing really good basketball lately, 9 wins in a row. I wasn't sure that the committee would recognize all of that and make them a 2 seed. I'm actually pretty good with it, but I am surprised.
What's interesting to me is with North Carolina, their losses being at home. How do teams weigh losses at home or losses on the road? If you think about some of these 2 seeds, NC State, some of their losses on the road that might play in their favor versus North Carolina, who's lost a lot at home.
There are a lot of new metrics this year.
Right, so the quad system that you hear us talk about quad 1 and quad 2 wins takes into account that home-road split to some degree. So it bakes in whether you played that game at home or on the road and how good that team was. So it helps metrically already tell us that. But you're right, Andrea, that looking at where teams play and how well they play away from home is very important, because the NCAA tournament, once you get to the Sweet 16, is not played on home floors.
Well, because that's what I think about with NC State. You talk about some of their losses, but at least they were at TCU. They were in different places. They're in the Bahamas or they're at California. Those road losses might not have hurt them as bad.
Exactly.
All right, and are we ready to reveal the 1 lines, the top locks, as we reveal our top 16 presented by Intuit QuickBooks, and that is UCLA, South Carolina, Notre Dame, and Texas.
Despite all these teams playing each other, like UCLA losing to USC the other night, Texas beating South Carolina, Notre Dame's played USC, and they played UConn, and they played Texas. I think the #1 seeds were a fairly easy call because of South Carolina and Texas's number of quad 1 wins, 10 each. The performance by Notre Dame against some of these better teams, I think, puts the Irish on that line. So I don't think this was actually a hard call. It could get harder, though, as we get closer to Selection Sunday.
So if fans are looking at this bracket and you see USC at 2, this is where we are today, even though we did just see them accomplish a quality win.
Exactly. But USC had fallen far enough behind. The loss to Iowa set them back. So there was a little bit of a gap. They closed the gap against UCLA for sure, and they're going to have have another cracking the Bruins, maybe 2 more, and that could change things for sure.
And as a follow-up, what is the biggest surprise that you have noted so far?
Well, if you look at the order of those number 1 seeds, Texas was number 3 overall. Notre Dame was number 4 overall. I had them reversed because Notre Dame beat Texas earlier in the year.
Yep.
Now, Texas's metric numbers and the way they've played lately, winning against South Carolina, look really good. But I think when it's close, you go to head-to-head if you have it, and they have it here. And the committee, though, elected to go with Texas at 3 and Notre Dame at 4. And you say, well, what does that really matter? Well, it matters for location in the regionals.
Yes.
The 4 is almost certainly going to go to Spokane, unless USC is also a number 1, and that gets in the weeds a little bit. But between Texas and Notre Dame, now Texas gets to go to Birmingham, a closer trip. Notre Dame has to go to Spokane. That is important.
You know, Charlie, maybe you can speak to this, because I always get a little confused with the committee when you think about what a team looks like dealing with injuries and what a team could look like at their best, right? I think about Kansas State. They've got a couple of losses that was without Ayoka Lee. Or I think about even a UConn team. In the Notre Dame game, AZ Fudd didn't play. I know she said she didn't play against USC. She only played 8 minutes in that game against USC. So she played, but she was limited. How much do you think the committee factors in a team at full strength versus a team not?
Well, what's interesting is availability of talent is no longer an official criteria. However, I know that's discussed. When I have my internal discussions, beyond getting the straitjacket ready, I think about that a lot. Who was playing on the floor that day? Does that loss have any mitigating factors? And the biggest mitigating factor is who was on the floor. And you're right, UConn might be looked at a little bit differently come Selection Sunday, because they did lose pretty much every big game they had outside their conference, but they didn't have AZ Fudd for most of them. Other than the Tennessee game, they really didn't have her. They have her now. So today is a really good look at what UConn looks like whole against a really good team. This is a very important game for the eyeballs of what UConn is now and can be come Selection Sunday.